Folks, hello and welcome to Tavern Chat. I'm your host, Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR, and today we're serving up the OSR special or whatever. So I was speaking with Bad Mike and others in the OSR, and there's again, the naysayers. The OSR will be dead. The OSR, by the way, it really can't die so long as anybody's playing it and as long as there's material available for it. So I figured, let me go to drive through being the repository for the largest amount of PDF and on print on demand material that we're going to find in this thing we call our gaming hobby. And look, OSR. All right, did a search for OSR. What do I come up with? Oh, let's go to the bottom here. I don't know if you can see it, but there are 9,984 items labeled as OSR in the drive-through RPG catalog. All right. So what does that actually mean, though? Right? I mean, what are we going to compare that to? Let's compare that to D&D, right? Let's compare. If you do a search for Dungeons and Dragons, all right, and I believe this is Pathfinder. Here, Dungeons and Dragons brings us to the DM's Guild. Yes, folks, the high quality recording of the Tenkar's Tavern Chat, as always. Now notice, by the way, you get a nice landing page when you do this. Not just you know, an unsorted list. You get the hottest D&D, hottest Dungeons and Dragons releases, hottest community Dungeons and Dragons releases. Oh wow, okay, pretty cool. Newest titles in this section, newest community created titles in this section, and then we get to the list. The list goes on and on. But let's see. 26,545. So it's about just over 2.5 times as large as the as the OSR list. But I'm sure a lot of these titles are listed both, right? Because on the D&D, we have Sword and Caravan and OSR setting book. So you know that's listed under both categories. And you have Dungeon Crawl Classics, Lankmore number 13. So you know it's listed under both categories. And Through Sunken Lands and Other Adventures. Again, listed under OSR and D&D. So there's an overlap on that. That's interesting, right? And I'm sure there's a lot of OSR titles, heck, a lot of D&D titles that I'm guessing many people have not seen, don't know that's out there. So, but all right, 5E's only been around for a couple of years, right? What about the big granddaddy Pathfinder, which means Pathfinder 1 and Pathfinder 2? Let's go to Pathfinder. Now, Pathfinder also gets a featured product when you land on it. It gets the hottest Pathfinder OGL, newest titles in this section, newest community created titles. It's the spiel, right? It's the spiel. And what do we get? How many Pathfinder titles? 12,670. That's probably not much of an overlap with the OSR in this case, just the way branding goes. But I find it interesting. The OSR has nearly 10,000 titles. Now, Bad Mike and I have been discussing this, and we've decided that we need to focus a few of our upcoming episodes of Talking Crit on the OSR. We've been targeting too wide and too far in our discussions. We need to focus on TSR because again, you got the jackasses out there who's like, people like Ernie are going to send people away from the OSR. Ernie's not in the fucking OSR. I don't know how many times I have to say this. He's not. Ernie's not. But there are nearly 10,000 products up on drive-thru. And this doesn't count the stuff that's not up on drive-thru. There are people that don't distribute through drive-thru. So what does that mean as an OSR gamer? Well, it means that even if the major companies somehow got locked out of the OSR by having to make a choice between one D&D, the one game to rule them all, and publishing to support OSR material, it's likely that the end result would be you still have 10,000 at that point plus resources to get. Much of it free, much of it pay what you want, a lot of it inexpensive, right? Because the OSR, for the most part, is something that D&D isn't. Okay, the OSR is a labor of love. Really, right? When it comes to Dungeons and Dragons, when it comes to the official written and published by Wizards of the Coast, it's a labor of an employee. It's a labor of somebody who's working under a contract. Much of the OSR is self-published. Much of the OSR is folks like me, like you, like Gene Spahn, Greg Gillespie, Joe Block, Levi Combs, Joseph Goodman, Troll Lord Games, Frog God Games. I'm Courtney Campbell. Here, I'm gonna be like going through this, going, I know I am missing so many names. I know so many people, and they're all creatives. Rob Conley, Greg Christopher, Matt Jackson. These people, they create, and they are creating not just because of the idea of, hey, maybe I can pay a small bill with money from this. They're creating because they're driven to create. So if you think that a handful of jackasses is going to kill the OSR, well, then you know what? You're a jackass. Simple as that. And we don't need you. We probably never have. The OSR is self-sustainable because the OSR is a bunch of individuals with a common goal, right? To produce good gaming shit, usable gaming shit, fun gaming shit, shit you want at the table, shit that you want in your hands, shit that you want to share with others. I think that's a viable and authentic goal. But maybe others feel differently. Folks, on that note, yes, we are still in the midst of the world of the endemic. What does an endemic mean? It means you had a pandemic and it ain't gonna fucking end. So, make choices according to the fact that this is the new. The new future is here. Other than that, folks, be safe, be well, God bless. Roll those dice, roll them well. I will be back again tomorrow. Live stream with myself and Bad Mike, and I got to do a lot of research because I got to find my top OSR titles. We might have to dig some deep ones on this one too. So join us, and we got some special guests for later on in October. We wouldn't fail you, not with that stuff. All right, folks. On that note, later.